The woman who got a court injunction to stop the incessant horn honking in downtown Ottawa back in February will be among the first witnesses today at a public inquiry into the federal government's use of the Emergencies Act. A handful of Ottawa residents and city officials will testify about their experiences as the Freedom Convoy paralyzed the capital and several other border crossings. And Kevin Gallagher from CTV News joins us now live from Ottawa with a closer look at what happened yesterday and what's on tap today. So, Kevin, the battle lines are drawn, right? It's all kinds of stakeholders. What clear signals are we looking for today?
Well, today, George, we're really going to get a perspective on what it was like for Ottawa residents and businesses to, live through weeks of what many here have called an occupation by this convoy protest. We are going to hear from Zexi Lee. She was the young Ottawa woman who was sort of the named plaintiff on the court injunction that, after, 10 days of incessant honking, they were able to get a court injunction against that. Also a lawyer who was part of that, as well as those who are representing business interests in the downtown core, as well as two city councillors, one of whom, Catherine McKenna, is actually running for mayor now in the city. The other city councillor, Matthew Fleury, is not seeking re-election. So, you're going to get that perspective from the Ottawa perspective. Now, even yesterday, we heard from Paul Champ. Now, he's a lawyer that's representing a coalition of residents and businesses here in Ottawa. Even he said that many of the residents and businesses aren't necessarily trying to make an argument that the Emergencies Act should have been invoked. Their opinion was that they'd like to know more about why more wasn't done before then. Why were police seemingly unable to act, to enforce laws? Paul Champ called it, a lawless environment with, sounds coming from air horns that could cause permanent hearing damage. Why wasn't there some type of action by the Ottawa Police? What sort of conversations happened between the Ottawa Police, between provincial policing partners and municipal, federal, and provincial authorities? That type of information will be happening as this fact-finding mission goes on over the next, up until November 28th. Today we're going to hear a very specific accounting of sort of what it was like for people who lived in Ottawa to endure this protest. But keep in mind that all of this testimony will be built towards and used by the commissioners to determine whether the federal government had the legal authority and was justified in using the Emergencies Act. That's the core question. Today we're going to get a lot of color, though, and certainly it'll be eye-opening for a lot of people to listen to that. But certainly even the people who are testifying today are also probably much more interested in the testimony that we're going to hear from interim police chief here in Ottawa, Steve Bell, the police chief at the time, Peter Slowly, who resigned during this convoy protest, and also, provincial authorities, the OPP. We heard yesterday from the lawyer representing the Ontario Provincial Police that, they didn't feel that the Emergencies Act was a necessary tool to end or lift the protest, that they had the tools. So the question for many of the residents are, well, then, if you had the tools, why weren't they being used?
Right. And the chair of the Commission, Justice Paul Rouleau, has said, he wants decorum, no appetite for grandstanding, adversarial attacks on witnesses. It's not a trial. But as you said, there will be color and it will get animated. So we can't wait to see how it all shakes out today. Kevin Gallagher, thanks.
You're welcome.